Welcome YouTube, Bobby G here. Thanks for joining me. Today I want to discuss the progression I'm going through in this hobby. It's exciting. Let's call it show and tell. So let's talk. So I'm sure you're familiar with my display tank, 75 gallon or 72 gallon bow front. I've had really nice success with this tank. I've put a lot of work into it. There's a fair bit of equipment on this tank to give it the success that it's had, and I enjoy watching these guys a lot. So let's go off to the other two tanks that I have. That's in this bedroom here. I have this 20 gallon and I have a 10 gallon. Now the progression of that was I had the 72 gallon, and after a short while I realized, well, I really should have a hospital tank. So I purchased the 10 gallon on Kijiji and had it set up and running for quite a while. And I had happened to been watching Ben Ochart's video on his Calamaris, I think it's called, outbreak, and immediately after watching that I thought, well, I would be a fool to not have a quarantine tank also. So that's when I bought the 20 gallon tank, set it up, and it's officially my quarantine tank for healthy fish, new fish that I bring into the house, that can stay in there for minimum 3 weeks or more. And then the hospital tank would remain a hospital tank for whenever there was a need. So the next thing that happened, I've had the 20 gallons set up for quite a while now, and you've seen I've added some fish from it into my display tank. I have a video on that. So the 20 gallon quarantine started out with 6 OBs that I graciously got from my good friend Mbuna Marcus. If you don't know Marcus, check out his channel. I'll have a link to it below in the description. So he provided me with 6 OBs just to keep the tank cycled. So things were going well, and then I noticed, and these OBs they still are really small. They're probably 1.5 to 2 inches, but they were even smaller obviously when I got them. Well, one of them was holding, one of the females was holding, and this is not my intent to start breeding. And it wouldn't be my intent to breed OBs because I have a couple friends, Mbuna Marcus, he does a great job of breeding OBs, and also Dario, who lives in the city, and he does an excellent job breeding the OBs. So I don't have an interest in breeding them because I feel that market's already covered. So anyways, what happened was I was just going to strip the female, and because I really didn't want to deal with the little fry and yada yada yada, but the softie in me came out, and I decided it was about 3 weeks that she'd been holding, and she was notably smaller because she wasn't eating than the others. The others are growing really fast. And I decided, well, I'm going to put her over in the hospital tank. I took a fish out of there that was in there that no longer needed to be in there, and I put her in. And lo and behold, the next day, there was 3 babies. So that was exciting. That was about a month ago now, and I'll try to get a bit of a close-up on them. I don't know if I'm still in focus here. But there's 2 of them. Unfortunately, I lost one. I'm not really sure what happened. It was directly following a water change. Anyways, there's still 2 of them. They're looking good. They've grown a lot. They're eating well. But now I have a problem, because now I don't have a hospital tank anymore. So then the next thing that happened was I was over at Marcus's, and he had shown me a couple fish that he'd picked up from a friend of his, and told me that this friend had some more that he was selling. Now those fish are, let's see here, are these Autopharynx lithobates, yellow blaze. They're also called Zimbabwe rock or Z-rocks. Now I think the only place I've seen these on YouTube so far is on Adam C's channel. I'm pretty sure he's got one. But anyways, these guys are phenomenal looking, and so I was introduced to Rob, whose YouTube channel I will also put in the link, robOzwrld, and I picked up 3 of these, 1 male, 2 females. You know, and I knew that at that point that I was going to have to figure out what I was going to do, because I absolutely love these fish. You know, I didn't set out looking for them, but I knew that after seeing it on YouTube that I had to have these fish. So like I said, I picked up 3, and then that very night, or maybe the next morning, Rob had 4 remaining, 1 male and 3 more females. So I contacted him and said, hey, if you've still got those, I'll take them. And sure enough, he did. So I went over and picked them up. So I currently have 2 males, 5 females. And what this did for me was, you know, it's caused me to really think, well, where am I going with the hobby? How am I going to manage possibly raising, breeding these lithobates? And, you know, how is my hobby going to expand? So follow me, and I'll show you what my options are, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we're going to, it's a little tricky here. We're going to go downstairs. Now, I really wasn't sure that I wanted to set tanks up downstairs. That, you know, whether I wanted tanks upstairs and downstairs, and, you know, whether I wanted to manage any more tanks. So, you know, a lot of thinking had to go into this. These are rooms that basically don't get used. But anyways, we have down here, sorry, not doing a great job at this, door number 1 and door number 2. There's also door number 3, but that's a bathroom. So if we go into door number 1, this is my hobby room. I fly radio control helicopters and radio control planes. So that's that room. Enough about that room. Then we have door number 2. Yeah, door number 2. So let's see what comes of this. Stay tuned. It's exciting. I'll make part 2 to show you what's happened.